It was the question I kept on asking myself. How could I have been so blind? I was convinced the Broncos had gotten the wrong man for the job, but maybe De Silva was right. I was the stooge. The bad joke everybody got but me. Either those guys wheeled their trash out on stretchers, or something was seriously wrong here. Oof. Was there anything they didn't have a grubby hand in? A few days earlier, I'd have called it a coincidence, but I'd written off too many of those already. The Imperial Palace Hotel was a 5-star bona fide shithole. I needed to find out why guests were checking in by the busload and checking out by the bag load. Maybe the service would be better upstairs.
Você não tá fazendo nada, tá fazendo tudo sozinho. Por aquele dobro. Porra! Atira!
Tassos' ID card. It was no great surprise he'd made their hit list, but to discover he was really Colombian? No wonder some locals seemed to laugh at his accent. What else had he lied to me about? I needed to find a way upstairs. Surely nobody would notice another hole in the wall. I knew this thing was bigger than me, bigger than the Broncos, but I only had a glimpse of the whole picture, like looking in a mirror and for an instant seeing what everyone else sees, a bad caricature of a better man. Ufe, that deal at the favela was getting dirtier by the minute. Those bastards were clearly in bed with the Crusher Prado. Now we just had to find out why. Starting with a bit of bedtime reading for Mr. De Silva. When you've lived the kind of life I've lived, reality comes at you through a different lens. But nothing could have prepared me for what was on the other side of that door. I had to get those poor bastards out of there.
Get him out of here. Go. Go. Wait. I said get.
Serrano. He looked pathetic. A man defeated. I walked away and left him to his own personal nightmare. Whatever hell this was De Silva had sent me into, I knew I had to put an end to it. I had no choice but to push on. I didn't understand everything, and I never would, but I understood enough. Sometimes a complicated problem is best tackled with a simple solution. This was hell on earth. De Silva was no fool. I'd have driven on off into the sunset too if I were him. But I was in too far now. There it was, the soundtrack to my life. And, for a few seconds, came harmony. Finally.
What the fuck is going on here?
How much do you want?
What have you been doing?
I am a doctor. I help people.
What have you been doing here?
It's easy for you. Listen, I know people. They will kill you. I can help you. Trust me. Please, please.
What have you been doing?
I have a lot of money. Look, look. Lots of money. I do important research. Please.
Caralho! Caralho!
Espera. Eu posso explicar tudo. Tudinho. Não. Por favor. Pelo amor de Deus. Por favor, não me mata! Não, não! Pelo amor de Deus!
Я ничего.
For all Serrano owed me, he'd paid enough. For now, I had bigger debts to call in. Even I could guess what demolissao meant. That building was condemned in more ways than one. There had to be something I wasn't seeing. They had a fucking arsenal in here. It was time to bring this little hellhole to the ground, so I decided to put some of their C4 to good use. I'd seen some dark shit in my time, but this was something else. These vermin had gone into a place where life was cheap and found a way to get rich off it. I just wanted to finish this and get far away from here. But then, true to form, more of the rats came out of their holes.
Vocês ouviram isso? Quem sai desse prédio desse cara tá morto.
At least my visitors have been kind enough to leave the gate open. When you find yourself in hell, dance with the devil. Either Victor Bronco and Nevis were doing a lot of charity work together, or this was payment for something else. Were the Crusher Prado in Victor's pocket? Had he tipped them off about the stadium exchange? It was time to see what VIP treatment awaited me on the penthouse floor. Any time I'd bought had been going real cheap. If I was gonna plant the rest of those explosives, I had to do it now. That was the last of the explosives. I just hoped it was enough to bring down the building and all the evil in it.
Who wants to take a shot? You see what this is? Come on, anybody? Want to be a hero? I got nothing to lose, let's do it!
Que porra que tá acontecendo aqui?
Senor Neves.
What the fuck is your problem, man?
My problem? My problem? Wanna know what my problem is? You're turning humans into glue! That's what my fucking problem is!
I don't know what you're talking about, American. All I know is what I hear about you. You bodyguard for the Brancos. They are all dead. You help the poor. Today, many of them dead. You are a proper American hero.
At least I fucking tried!
Well done with your effort. The whole city is grateful. The great American savior of the poor.
That's right!
You think you made any difference? You think stopping this legitimate business venture is helping anyone?
Legitimate? You're stealing people's organs!
We pay for everything. We have the record.
Oh, so people can sell their livers? Their hearts? Their eyeballs? You're insane, you sick fuck!
We kept people safe in the city. Decent people. Safe. I know a lot of powerful people.
Well, your powerful people aren't gonna help you out of this one, buddy.
dangerous, friend.
Yeah, I kinda like it. It's growing on me.
Nice to see a happy tourist smiling.
What the fuck are you doing here?
I came back
I can see that. But why?
to save you.
Oh, yeah, real hero.
Listen,
Now, come with me, Max. To Brazil. A chance to play the fall guy in a plot that my boss's brother's hatching to profit from the selling of human organs. Yeah, it'll be perfect for you.
what are you talking about? I know nothing about human organs, man. Victor and Marcelo were trying to teach Rodrigo a lesson. Get into using the purse strings and the family money. They pressured me into doing it. You wanna die? I came back for you. I did my best. I'm having a kid, Max. I gotta go.
Fuck you.
Sure. Later. Now, let's go. This thing works.
I owe you everything.
I thought I was going to have to witness another murder.
Nah. Not him.
You ready?
I guess.
Okay. I've looked through this information you gathered. It's not very nice.
What is it?
It's the Ufe. The famous Mr. Becker.
Friend of Victor Bronco.
Yes. And a contributor to his campaigns. A government employee, of course.
And?
A weapons dealer. A murderer. This was known. A dealer in human organs. This wasn't known.
A proper gentleman.
Sure.
So you're gonna bring him down?
Yes, because I want to lose my wife and my children and then get killed myself. All that after watching him walk free.
Tell me what has to be done.
Well, officially there's nothing I can do.
And unofficially?
Well, we can always try something a little more creative.
Creative?
De Silva had promised me a 10 o'clock showcase. I had to make sure I was on stage and ready for my close-up.
Diga a Becker. Que vem para ele. Ah!
Ei, olha aqui. Tropa, aí, moço. Mano, esse cara aí. Faz a tua conta, rapaz. Vai, vai. Fudeu! Eu quero saber a culpa.
Ei, quem é essa cara aí?
Convidado nosso. Quebra esse otário aí. Deixa comigo, dá uma lição nele. Então, vai dela não
Filha da puta! Agindo frente! Aqui! O que você vai acontecer, caralho? Tá pensando o quê? Hã? Onde é que você vem? Fica aí, cara! Eu? Se fodeu, filha da puta! Chega aqui!
Ô, segura a porta aí.
Eu vi uma outra versão.
Já vou resolver aquela parada lá, hein? Demorou. Valeu, amigo.
nothing resembling good times lay beyond that gate. I guess our little stunt helped some other civic-minded people raise valid concerns about community relations. Their faces said it all. I was on their side, but how could they know that? If they came through that door, I'd be leaving as a human shield and never leave at all. Luckily for me, for once the police arrived just in time. It sounded like all hell was breaking loose. Whatever nonsense De Silva had pulled, it seemed to be working. Luckily, I wasn't the only cop with a pill problem. The last few prisoners were trapped in here, and more impressively, it seemed I was too. It was Monday's arrest log, as far as I could tell, and no sign of anybody from Nova Esperanza. All those poor bastards had been checked straight into the Imperial Palace Hotel. Kid had the right idea. There was no point bouncing bullets off that thing. I decided I'd try to pick up where he left off. And then immediately regretted that decision. shame to let that RPG go to waste. Shame to let that RPG go to waste. This was like throwing sticks at a hurricane. I needed something with a little more thunder. Crying shame to let that RPG go to waste. Shame to let that RPG go to waste. Crying shame to let that RPG go to waste. crying shame to let that RPG go to waste. Wasn't this nice? The perfect end to a perfect trip. If someone had told me 6 months ago this was where my life was headed, I'd have ordered a double of whatever they were drinking, drunk it, then blown my head off. Any time the prison riot had bought me was starting to run out, I had to keep moving. Another dark, rainy night, another police station, another futile crusade for amends. Time moves forward, and nothing changes. Every bastard in the joint must have known I was on the loose by now. I couldn't afford to waste any more time. Police food, the same crap the world over. But I could reminisce about the old days later. For now, there were more pressing matters to deal with. It looked like the prisoners were giving them a run for their money. That's what happens when you hand some roided-up halfwit a commando uniform with special on the front and let him ride around his hometown in a tank playing soldiers. Sooner or later, someone's gonna decide he's not so special. There were a bunch more in the elevator, tooled up like they were about to roll into Fallujah. And of course, they were headed my way. If the heat was rising, that meant I was getting closer to the source. I had to keep moving. If there was one thing I learned since being in Sao Paulo, it was that me and the local elevators were not a good mix. Whatever depressing fate lay on the other side of those doors, there was no point in putting it off any longer. I'd killed more cops than cholesterol, and still no sign of Becker. It wasn't the first time it dawned on me I should probably have gone over the plan in more detail, but it's too late for that now. AUP. Those were the guys who jumped the yacht in Panama. And what was this? Had the Brazilian cops tipped them off about the money? If I didn't hurry, Becker would be long gone. I still didn't know how I'd gone from drinking myself numb in New Jersey to looting corpses in Brazil. But this was where I was, 5,000 miles from a home I couldn't go back to, on another suicide mission to clean up a mess that wasn't even mine. The CS were all but out of business in Sao Paulo, and suddenly Becker and Victor looked like local heroes in the war on crime. They'd really gotten their money's worth outsourcing their problems onto me. My old pal Serrano. We'd both been unwitting clowns in this sorry circus. Part of me hoped he'd made it out of that hotel alive. I didn't recognize the guy. Maybe this was the new slum king De Silva had talked about. A throne never stays empty for long. Fame at last. It was no great surprise I'd made Ufe's most wanted list. I hadn't done much to improve the reputation of Americans abroad over the past few weeks, and there they were, my illustrious employers, 3 dead and still every chance I'd go 4 for 4. None of this was going to look good on the resume. But I was in good company. Howell Passos, sent up north to find a washed-up gringo who'd act tough and play dumb. Boy, did he ever deliver. starting to feel as if I'd never leave that place. Like one of those nightmares where you keep running and running, only to discover you're chasing yourself. Nothing I was going to find in there could make a difference now. I had all the evidence I needed. Tear gas. This wasn't good. I needed to find a way out of that stairwell, and fast. The bastards had me locked in. That would have been too easy. The doors were all locked. There had to be something else I wasn't seeing. That would have been too easy. If I didn't do something soon, I was going to be crying myself to a very long sleep. My eyes and throat burned, but at least I could breathe. I was trying to work out what direction I was headed in when I discovered some more Brazilian architecture not designed for the American physique. There it was, the tape from the Bronco security system. Jesus, it was that guy. I had seen him in the favela. Bachmeyer, Becker's right-hand man. His time would come. Him and Becker. I'd seen enough. It was time to bring this nightmare to an end. I couldn't get that tape out of my head. Why had Ufe killed Rodrigo? I wasn't going to find any answers in the forensics lab. I had to push on.
Nice to see you.
Vai pra casa, gringo de merda.
I don't think we've been properly introduced.
I know who you are.
And you should have killed me in the office when you had the chance.
There's still time, meu camarada.